Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you are doing well and having a great day. First up, we have news from the creator of Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin. He stated recently during a presentation in Singapore that Casper is actually very close to being finished. Pretty close, but not extremely close. It's always great to have updates about this happening. So at the moment he says, and then we know that this is actually on a test net, and they're hoping to be able to implement this completely soon on the mainnet. They also spoke a bit about Plasma, and it pretty much comes down to, at the moment, they are focusing on both, obviously, but they are trying to make sure that Plasma happens as well at the exact same speed, simply because they are trying to address the scaling issue right now. We saw Ethereum going slow because of CryptoKitties, and I'm sure it's only going to go a bit slower as we get more apps and dApps on the network. So they want to make sure that they are able to completely expand the network for, I think it's supposed to be 1 million transactions per second. And they never give an exact date as to when things are supposed to happen, because last time they did this, I think sometime last year, we were given a time frame of around March, April, May 2017 when this would all kind of happen. It did not happen, as you can tell. And a lot of people were pretty upset. So whenever they give updates, they no longer give a date or time as to when things will exactly happen on the network. But it's always nice to have some type of update from them. And I hope that this happens soon, because when this does happen, Ethereum is going to completely skyrocket. So for the main news of today, how do I even start with this? Sure, you can see this right here. For those who do not know, just a bit of a backstory. Before we had Coinbase, before we had Binance, before we had Kraken, we had Mt. Gox. Mt. Gox was the go-to place if you wanted to buy Bitcoin, which I believe then was the only cryptocurrency. So pretty much to sum it up for those, like I said, who do not know, there's a trading card game called Magic the Gathering, and the original purpose of Mt. Gox, it was called Magic the Gathering Online Exchange. It was a website for a trading card game that then became a website to trade, buy, and sell Bitcoin by this guy. Eventually, at some point, they said they were hacked. They said that something had happened and they had lost all their Bitcoin. So years and years ago, whenever we have issues now, when exchanges are kind of halting withdrawals, or they're halting this, or they stop this, or they say that they've been hacked, whatever the case might be, people panic a lot more than they did kind of back then, because there were a lot of instances where things were going wrong with Mt. Gox. I took my money off of Mt. Gox, and I told my other friends to also take that off. A lot of my friends did not take their money off, and they lost their Bitcoin when everything went sour, because this was the most trusted place. A lot of people didn't know that it was really a website for a trading card game before. They assumed that it was the #1 go-to place for cryptocurrencies. So when everything kind of fell apart, they lost tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of Bitcoin. I think it amounts to 250,000 Bitcoin or something like that they said went lost. They couldn't find it. It was completely gone. At some point, this guy, when he had to go to court to finally talk about, hey, where's all the money, he came forward and said, oh, I actually gave it to a trustee. The trustee is actually holding it. He didn't reveal any information about the trustee, blah, 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 blah. But he said, yeah, this guy is holding on to the money. That's the story. This is what we know. So to fast forward to where we are now, in January, even at the end of December, we were trying to figure out, remember, it was this huge discussion for about 8-9 weeks. Why was the market going down? People kept on saying it was China. People said it was Russia. People said it was South Korea. No one could figure it out. I even made the other video where I was talking about it as well, because it was so perplexing. Why is the market going down? We had some bad news that happens. We always have tons of bad news, and we have news about regulation all the time, but the market doesn't drop by 40% over the course of 36 hours and then kind of come back up and then slam back down again. So what it comes down to is this. It appears that the person who was holding all of these Bitcoin, which I think amounts to several $billion at the moment, you can't see it because I also can't see it that well on my screen. You see these lines going down. They have numbers above them. It says on the very first day, the price hit at 19,000, briefly falling to 18,000, then continued to fall in subsequent days, as we saw. This is the first sell-off. There's a little number 2 right here. This was the second sell-off. This was the third sell-off. This was the fourth, and this was the fifth. In total, everything amounted to around 400 million. So let's say around $500 million worth of Bitcoin and all the free Bitcoin cash that they got from the fork. What happens when someone sells $100 million worth of anything, especially Bitcoin, on any given day? The market completely panics because everyone assumes that this person knows something that's going on. If someone's going to sell $100 million of a currency, people are going to completely freak out because you assume they know something. We assume in our minds as humans that people with money have the most information, therefore the most knowledge. So when they're doing a huge sell-off, clearly they know something that's going on. Couple this with the fact that we had all the news about regulation, all the news about this, all the news about there may be a banning, all of which we know is not true. This seems to be the complete reason why everything fell apart. I can't even read this number because of the image here, but this appears to say, I think 6,900, give or take. If this has been the reason for the market crash, it's not even insider trading at this point. It's like the ghost of Mount Gox will not leave us alone. The fact that they were able to do this, that they were selling thousands of Bitcoin at a time and completely crashing the market. No one knows exactly why this sell-off happened. It seems like that obviously the guy from Mount Gox has to pay people back in some sort of way. I think he's supposed to pay the people who are affected by this back, but this is why he said, I actually have no control over the money. People have found the addresses where the coins were, and this is how we know exactly which addresses were selling off the money. These people crashed the market once again. They did it. They did it years ago, and they managed to do it all over again. That is literally the news for today. Everyone is kind of scrambling around trying to figure out exactly what happened, what's going on, why is this still a thing. But yeah, it came out to around 200,000, 250,000 Bitcoin that they ended up. It's the entire situation is very weird. So it makes me wonder where exactly the market would be, because what happened over the past 8 weeks, was it? 8-9 weeks, that entire time period completely terrified the market. Every time that we try to get back up, we had a 2-month period where everything was constantly dragged down over and over and over. Even Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin was actually over 10,000 earlier today. So obviously things are trying to go back up. But it just really makes you wonder that it's so easy in order to, this was a huge sell-off, but this could provide some type of clarity as to exactly what happened. Yeah, not to drag this on. This is the news for today, everyone. I don't even find this depressing. I find this is actually amazing. The fact that this happened, and I'm glad that we figured this out, but that they were able to do this twice, that they're constantly destroying the market over and over, the same exact people, is just really amazing. All right, everyone. Like I said, yeah, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys are having a great day, having a great morning, wherever you are, wherever you might be. And yeah, I will talk to you all soon. See you.